Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing. This is my first time coming out into the studio since I cleaned it up and revamped it. This is a little building out on our property. It used to be a chicken coop, and so I thought I would get out here and get back in the practice of doing some watercolor out here a little bit closer to nature. So in the beginning, you might have seen, well, I don't know, I'll probably insert the clip at the beginning of the video, but I took another view of the studio here, and then I took a close-up of video of my view out here. So I'm hoping that this is all going to turn out. This is a test. So I decided instead of doing a really complicated kind of video, I would just do a stamped image. So this is a stamp in my collection, and I just stamped it on a piece of paper and blew it up a little bit. It's one of my favorite images to paint. It's very, very easy. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So my palette is very big. This is my favorite palette to use when I'm in studio. I have other palettes that I use when I'm traveling or packing away in my case in the car. So I've got some brushes here. Primarily these are Anna Mason brushes. They're one of my favorites. I've got a Rembrandt Red Sable. I also have some other choices over here should I decide that I want something else. So these just stay out here all year long. So yeah, but I didn't want to do like a bunch of drawing and tracing and all of that today. So the first thing that we're going to start with is we're going to get going. We're going to work on the leaves first. They are always my favorite. I am going to grab a little bit of a bigger brush here. This is a Creative Mark, Mimic Creative Mark. It's a faux squirrel, so it's not real animal hair. And I also have this guide that this is the lid of my palette, and so I'm going to set it somewhere where I can see it so that I can grab my paints here. So I got to turn it this way. This is perfect though. Blocks my view a little bit. It's sitting right there in front of the window, but that's okay. So we're going to start with some let's see, some azo green, I believe, as a base for our leaves. So I'm just going to get some of this out on my palette. You're not going to be able to see my palette in its entirety because it's too big. So I'm just getting some out on my palette, and then I'm adding some water to it. This is my, hopefully you guys can see this. This is my dirty water. This is my clean water. And then we're going to go ahead and get some sap green as well. So I'm dipping into the clean water, and I'm going to go for the sap green, which is right here, this globby bit. This is M-Gram paint primarily. And M-Gram is one of my favorite colors, but it has honey in it, so it doesn't travel very well, even though I still insist on traveling with it. It is a little bit finicky in that regard. So I think that we're good on that. Well, maybe a little bit of ultramarine blue in case we want to darken some of the leaves around the bases. So I'm just going to throw some of that out here too. So again, I'm not sure what you can see because this is a test. This is not an emergency. This is just a test of the emergency broadcast system. So this is what I have on the palette so far. Hopefully you guys can see that. And let me just get that rinsed out. I don't want to bring a bunch of blue in to my leaves right out of the gate. So I'm going to set these brushes over here because I don't want them to get in the way. I've got a paper towel for some dabbing, and I don't want to use that big brush. That was just for mixing. So I think I'll use this one. This is the Anna Mason size 5. Okay. And we're going to just go in, and I'm going to show you how I do the leaves, and then I'll speed it up because you don't need to see everyone in detail. So I'm going to wet my entire leaf. That's the way I prefer to paint, at least at this point. And I'm going to add the azo green. So that's going to bring us in a little bit of light color. Okay, I'm going to dab my brush off. Doesn't matter if I have paint there on my brush because it's in the same family of paint. So that I'm just going to drop that color in and watch it go. Love watercolor, you guys. So magical. It's very cold out here this morning. I should have probably ran the cord and got a little bit of heat, but I just needed to get this going. I just bopped into that rose a little bit, but that's okay. We can actually grab, just use this piece of the paper towel and just dab that and get that out of that area, maybe. I don't have a small enough thing to do that with. So I'm going to leave that leaf like it is. I am going to drop in a little bit of that ultramarine blue to create a little bit of shadow in that little section there. Yeah, a little bit here and there. Okay. So now when you're doing this, if you're interested in the tutorial part of this, it is a general, like, basic watercolor techniques. I'm going to be jumping around because I don't want my stuff to bleed. So I'm just going to jump around. I'm going to speed this up now for a bit, and then you guys can watch, and then I'll come back in a bit. So you do want your tones to vary some. So I'm going a little bit lighter with this one. So we got a little bit of a lighter green, and then all of our tones are going to be a little bit lighter. I do like to make sure that that yellow doesn't get lost because we need that light. This is a little bit weird here, so I'm just going to try to blend that out a little bit. There we go. You want to be sure, again, if you're treating this as a tutorial and not just a, hey, let's hang with Cara-Renee, you do want to make sure that you don't drop water into your already painted area, because you'll get what they call a bloom, which is kind of looks like they call it a cauliflower or a bloom. And it's where the new introduction of water causes the water to be pushed out. And it can cause, sometimes it's an effect that you might desire, and other times it is not. So you do want to be mindful of that as well. So I'm really working on, as I mentioned, I think maybe in my Beloved Beauty Monthly, that I'm really focusing on some watercolor and drawing and things. I haven't done a lot of that yet because, like, there's just so much to do in life, you know? It's hard to sit down and give myself permission to just draw and practice that technique, but I need to do it because my goal is to I have my own style, but I need to be able to draw to create my own designs. And I think I mentioned in a video that there's a gal that I found on YouTube, Liesel, I think is her name, but I will link it, where she actually does these great tutorials, and she also sells her sketches on Etsy. Now they are copyrighted, so you can't like create from them and then use them and sell them, but you can use them for your own purposes. So there we've got that. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this, and I'm going to speed this up again and let you watch a little bit more. Might hear some banging outside. My husband just came out to work on the boat, and it is literally right behind me. So it might get a little bit louder than I expected. I didn't know he was going to be out here, but that's okay. He's getting ready for a fishing trip. It's an annual trip where he takes, just the boys go, the grandsons, I think 4 of them go. And they actually get out of school for a couple of days, for 3 days, because they go at the end of April. But it's an annual trip. My son goes with them, and it's pretty cool. But so if you watched the video where I did kind of a little outdoor studio tour, you might have noticed that my stuff was set up over on the other counter, but the view there has changed because there's a boat trailer and the canoe is on it, and it's just not very pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and continue here, guys. It can be hard to keep my hands out of the way, so I will try to move my hands so that you can see after I've made a movement a little bit. Oh, that one's really pretty. I do want to take a moment and show you the magic of the whoosh, is what I call it. I'm just looking for one that is not, that is next to something that's that one's mostly dry, I think. But I want to show you the swoosh, not the swoosh, what did I just say? It's where it just rushes. The water and the paint just rush together like they're just crazy in love and they want to have a chat. So they got to meet in the middle, and it's really, really magical. It is what drew me to watercolor, was the play between the paint and the water is just really cool. So I'm just going to drop this in and watch. Now, some colors whoosh a little bit. Whoosh, that was the word. That was a different color, Cara-Renee. Okay, that's all right. That was a, what is that one? Oh, that's undersea green. That's interesting. I think that's a Daniel Smith. Yeah, that's a Daniel Smith color. Not what I was going after there, but that's okay. So this is the whooshy one. Look at that. It just moves like it's like, I want to be your friend. Come here, come here, come here. And yeah, it's really, really cool. And I'm not even going to put it up by that top bit because I want to bring in a little bit more dark there with the ultramarine blue. So I'm going to grab some fresh, really thick application here and go right into that little crevice and get some blue that's not so muted out. So look at that shine of blue. So pretty. So pretty. Get a little bit down here. Now this part down here that you're seeing that I'm not touching is going to be a lighter color. So I'm not going to do anything with that right now. We'll come in when it's dry. Okay, so I'm going to continue on here. So when you see me working on that little branch there, I don't want to make that a solid color. So I skipped over a little bit with the sap green and left some of that yellow showing. So that's also a really cool technique where you can kind of get a more variegated, not variegated, but it's a sweet mixy kind of thing going on here. So I'm going to go in with the ultramarine blue, and I'm going to go around the edges of that other bit because that's a rose bud, and we would have deep shadows in there, right? So there we go. I am pretty happy with that. Okay, I'm going to speed this up again. And again, I like to leave those little bits of yellow showing. And I also really love, depending on the kind of painting I'm doing, I love to leave a little bit of white sparkle from the paper. But hopefully as I move through this journey, I'll be able to show you more of that. So I'm going to go in with the ultramarine blue here. I know I said I was going to speed this up, but now I wanted to mention what I was doing here with this leaf because that was a little problematic. So I'm gonna get some of that. Oh, that's beautiful. Beautiful separation there. And then up underneath that petal and boom, a little bit at the bottom. So it looks like I've got 3 more leaves to paint. So I will, again, turn the music on here for you. So one of the things I need to improve is changing up my tones because you can see, I mean, there's some variation between light and dark, but they really need to have more tones of green rather than just, I mean, different colors of green, I think, but I'm working on that. So, I mean, it's always on my mind, but again, I don't watercolor a lot. I usually watercolor when I go on a trip or I go to the lake or, you know, on a little vacation, then I will usually watercolor more. Okay, so there we go. So that is pretty much all the leaves. Now we need to go in and do the leaves that are around the buds. So I'm going to try to go in and do this a little bit here and just get a little bit of yellow paint on that leaf. If we get a little bit of bleed, that's going to be okay. Yeah, like that. And do we have any more like that? Do not, oh, right there. So I'm going to do the same with this little bit here because it's lighter because it's the underside of that leaf. And then I'm going to try, I think I need to move and see if I can find something that I know is more dry. So I'm going to try this. This may be a mistake, and this time I'm going to go in a little bit more. I'm going to go in dry, wet on dry. So I can just kind of swoop that in. It's not going to have as much of the whoosh, but it's going to allow me a little bit more control. Okay, and we don't want these to be as dark. So that's another reason. That's way too light, so I will be fixing that. Just the beginning here. It's challenging for me to retain the dark parts that I need to retain. So that's some of the stuff I'm working on, or want to work on rather, is just you know, having those variations. So that looks okay. And then we're going to go in with a little bit dark there and there. And then we've got a bit over here. I'm just going to catch it with that sap green and a little bit of it up here. And I'm just going to grab it with the sap green and then that little swirly bit. So that one is done. So let's see if we can move to this one. I'm hoping that this is, I'm going to take a moment and make sure I'm still playing. Yep. I hope I haven't been off camera. I just looked, I don't, because in the studio, I can look at my computer screen and see that I'm on camera, but I just had to set the phone up. It's on a little thing here and then just line stuff up and hope that it's okay. I need to get some scotch tape or masking tape out here and mask off my area, but I didn't do that today. So that will hopefully come in the future. Okay. So same process. I'm doing wet on dry. A little bit of green, sap green. So see how you can get a lighter variation by just having a paint that's not, a bit of paint that's not as heavily pigmented. It's more watered down on my palette. So that works out well. I love that contrast right there that's happening. So I'm super happy with that. I'm going to grab a little bit more of the sap green, get a little bit more dark up here and here and there, just swishing that in. A little bit more dark. Okay. And the rose is a tricky beast. Okay. When we get there, I'll talk about that more, but we've got some more of those little viney bits. So I'm going to do that same process. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay. So now I'm just gonna take a moment and I'm just gonna check and make sure I don't need any more of my greens. I think we're good. And I'm gonna clean the palette off and then I'm going to change out my paper towel and I'll come back with the colors for the roses. I'm gonna show you the palette here. So I'm using quinacridone rose. It is a Daniel Smith color. And what I did is I've got a concentrated bit there and I've got a watered down bit here because I'm gonna go wet into dry, I believe, and use a really light wash and then bring in some darker bits as we move through the leaves. So sometimes when I paint a flower, I will paint the whole flower a tone, but I don't have any way to dry my painting today because I'm out in the outdoor studio. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to start with some of these petals. And again, I will speed up as I can. I'm just going to try to get a little bit more room here. And I'm going to go in with this really, really pale wash, and I'm just going to cover this whole petal. Now this image was actually printed on my printer on watercolor paper. I haven't tried it with my new printer, so I'm not sure if it will work, but we might get a little bit of bleed from the ink, but I'm not too concerned about that. I'm going to go in with a really concentrated bit of the Quin Rose, and I'm just going to tap it in here. Roses are my favorite thing to paint. I had a memory come up on Facebook where I painted a rose based on a tutorial like 5 years ago, and then like 2 or 3 years later, and like there was no comparison to the quality. Like I really learned a lot. So now I'm just using my barely damp brush, and I'm just going to pull that color out because I want it more, I want it darker at the base and then lighter as it goes through. Okay, like that. And then I'm just going to go ahead. I need to go to a place that nothing else is touching. So I'm going to go in with, I'm going to go into this one here. So same process. I'm going to grab that really, really washed out color. It's almost white. You can barely see any pink. Let's bring in a little more pink. That was super light. So I'm going to speed this up just a little bit, and I'll be back to talk with you in a bit. So you want the darker concentration in this case at the base of the rose where it connects, and then it's going to go lighter up, okay? So then I've got my wet brush, and I'm just going to move that. It's barely wet. I mean, I've tapped it off so that it's not sopping wet, and I'm just going to go in and move some of that paint around like that. And I left some sparkle. That's the white sparkle that I was talking about before. So I really like that effect. So let's see what else we can grab here in the middle, because the middle is the hardest because there's so many sections of it. So I'm going to go in with the pink here and hope that I don't make anything bleed out, because I'm going to touch that other one. We'll see. Should be okay. Yeah, look at that. And I think that the rose I was talking about earlier, I think my success came from, I did a lot of glazing, which is transparent layer on transparent layer. And I think that's why I had such success with that one. But I haven't done that in a while. So I'm going to go in with this one here. And again, I'm just going to drop in a concentrated amount of that quinacridone rose and just put it where it needs to be darkest, right there. Okay, just like that. I do need to bring that out a little bit because it's almost white there. So I'm just gonna, yep, just like that. So let's see if we can do this one. I think I'll be able to do this big leaf. Are we dry? So, yep. So with watercolor, if you touch it with the side of your hand, you can tell if it's super cool to the touch, it's not dry. It should not be cool to the touch. So if you're looking for completely dry, that's what you're after there. So hoping that this is not going to bleed out. Oh, it's going to bleed a little bit, but that should not be a problem. It might present a problem when I put in my darker pink there, but we'll deal with that. I'm being cautious around those leaves because they might not be completely dry. So I'm leaving kind of a little bit of white space there, which is fine. And then just letting this darker color, come on. We want more of you. Come on, come and play. Yeah, there we go. and get a little even more concentrated right here where it's underneath that bit. My husband did our taxes this morning, so that's out of the way. He waited until 3 days before the taxes are due, because it only takes him like an hour to do it, because we don't have any like interest or anything, because we don't have really any debt. So it's kind of fun to see how fast he can do it. But yeah, in 20 I had made a decision I've been talking about on the channel about starting my business again, and I think I'm going to do that, but I'm going to prepare for it and start getting my mind around that, and then start it in January of 2026. So yeah, just coming in again with a little bit more dark. At this point we have to be careful because we've come back and forth into this petal a lot, and we can begin to create an overworked look. So I'm just being very cautious there. That one looks very odd to me, but we'll work with it. So let's go ahead and do this. This one I have to do in sections because it's uninterrupted around there. So I'm going to speed this up because otherwise we're going to be here a long time. I'm going to peek at the camera one more time. I'm not trusting this process, you guys. It's a little nerve-wracking. So I'm going to go ahead and do parts of this one here. So I don't know if you can see it, but I'm leaving parts of it dry. So I'm not dropping in water everywhere because that's how I get those little sparkle bits. So, so I've got a little, hopefully you'll be able to see it this time around since I'm chatting with you. Hoping this video doesn't get too long since I can't really tell how long it's been like I can in studio. So I'll show you what I mean here in a second. I'm just going to bring that down a little bit further. Okay, and so that spidery look is actually kind of cool. I don't like it to be really overwhelming. I hope you guys can see that, what I'm talking about there. It's this kind of spidery effect, and I'm going to soften that because I don't necessarily like that. And then see that white spot right there? I'm going to leave it, okay? I love that sparkle. Okay, I'm going to continue on. We don't have that much more to do. I think I'm going to hop up here and do one of the bigger roses. We might come in and do a little bit of dark on those, the bits that are around that baby rose. So this one I'm going to go in, I generally go in straight with paint on dry paper. Actually, I should probably go lighter. And I'm just going to do these buds here. Do those two first, and then go in with a darker amount of the quinacridone rose, because we want these to really be really soft, but like we want them to stand out. Like they're saying, I'm here, don't forget me. I'm just as important as the grown-up rose, you know. So, because they are. Oh, that's really pretty. Oh, I love that. So I'm just going to go in and again move that paint around a little bit, not too much, don't want to overwork it. And I'm going to come up here to the top and just get that bit there. And I've got to skip around because I don't want to get too much there, so close to the leaves, and I don't want those sections to bleed either. So not much needed here. So just a little section there, just this baby doesn't even know if it wants to come out at all. It's still on the fence. Okay, oh, that's so pretty. Love it. Okay, so let's turn this and let's work on those ones at the top. Okay, so our buds are done. I'm trying not to get too, well, I have to go back to that one, but I don't want to go into too much, detail, because there's beauty in the simplicity of the way that you can apply these colors, and it's looking really great. So we're going to go back to the main rose here. Again, in with a wash of that really pale pink. And again, I want to make sure I leave a little sparkle of white. That's just a thing that I like. You don't have to do that. It's kind of one of those signature things I tend to do all the time. So, why isn't this flowing? Why are you stuck, paint? Maybe didn't have quite enough water, I don't know. Feels like it's not very concentrated right now. There we go. Need to kind of dig into that pan a little bit. Okay, we're just gonna wipe that brush off and move that paint around a little bit. I don't know if I retained that light spot, but I don't think I did. I think I might have lost it. That's okay. That's okay. Almost done. We're gonna go back to this one that was that really big circle. It was not broken right here, so I don't know if you noticed I did soften that edge before I moved on this edge here. So hopefully this will be fine. We're almost done. I'm hoping that this is still playing. I'm gonna post it anyway because I'm not gonna waste this video time. So we'll see what we end up with. I mean, I guess you won't know if I don't post it, right? Because you won't see this, but I'm gonna think on that. So just again, oh, that was a lot of water though. A lot of water. Be it to have less water, more paint. Otherwise you get too much of a whooshing and not enough concentration of your paint color. So that was better. I just dipped in directly to the paint instead of any lighter, more watered down mixtures that are on my palette currently. So I'm just going to bring that color down. Those little bits of darker pink are also a really fun addition to it. They create a little bit of interest. So, wow, this didn't take as long as I thought it would, guys. I'm feeling pretty good about this. So, this is a very small petal, so I'm going to be very ginger with my water there. Because you don't want the water to take over. So there's a lot of practice involved in figuring out what your water to paint ratio is. And that water to paint ratio will change based on the colors that you're using as well, because sometimes you can have a really saturated or highly pigmented color and it will just like take over, like even at its lightest, in its lightest form, it's just like so overpowering. Oh, we've got all those petals in the middle. What was I saying? So I'm going to speed this up so I can catch up on this. Oh my gosh. There we go. So we're going to let that dry a second because we don't want those petals to all bleed into each other. We want them to be independent. So I'm going to go up here and get some color in here and here and here. And then we're going to drop some dark in as well. Again, I'm not going for super precise or realistic look. I just want to kind of just show you, like, and have fun, because I haven't done this in a while. I mean, I paint, but I don't paint on camera, and it's not my focus. So, and then now that this is dry, I'm going to show you how you can go in and just darken some things by just taking, now that's dry, so we can go in and get some darker pink. It's not going to have the same effect there in the center because we're wet, and then I can just kind of do that. Okay. Oh, I forgot a leaf over here too. Goodness gracious. A petal rather, not a leaf. Petal. Petal on the flower. Leaves on the leaves. So you do kind of have to remember where you've been in terms of your painting. And you can tell another good thing to know about watercolor is things always dry lighter. So you'll notice that, oh, we got a little bit of bleed there. That's okay. Excuse me, your watercolor will always dry lighter. So yeah, you want to keep that in mind when you're looking at it and you're going, oh, this is awfully dark. It's not really. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with a little bit of the pink, the darker pink, and I'm going to accentuate some of those places. I think we just did this petal, so that might be erroneous, but we should be okay. You want to make sure you don't have hard lines, so just kind of soften it a little bit so it doesn't look so stark. And then just come down here and do the same. I'm just going to move around all the petals and do this, and then I'll go in and soften them as well. So see, you don't want to leave that hard line though. Just go in with a mostly dry brush and soften that out. That looks great. I love watercolor. Some of this got really light, so we're going to really definitely come in here and darken that up. This would be called a glaze, okay? Where we're going in wet over, well, it's a wet on dry technique, but it's also a glaze because we're working with transparent layers of paint to build up. Okay, I'm gonna do the same here. I can kind of move fast and do multiple. I don't know if I already did this one. I think I did, but that's okay. We'll be able to move that around here. So I'm just gonna go quickly along all those places where I want it darker, and then I'm just going to go in and get my brush just a little bit wet and just drag that out. I don't want to lose my sparkle. Don't lose your sparkle, ladies. That one I didn't come back to, so it's a little bit darker than I would have liked. That's okay. And if I had a small paper towel ready, I could go in and blot something that felt too dark for me. Or if I wanted to, if I just wanted to lighten something that I just did. So, but because this is watercolor, it's water reactive. So you have a lot of control over some of these bits. So I'm gonna go into the center of the rose here. And I need to go in and get some dark in here because we are nearing the end here of our project. So you'll see that we've got darker bits in here. So all of these are shadows. Okay. And this is a shadow here. I went into that petal. Didn't mean to do that. And then this is a shadow here. Bumping into shadows here. Shadows are bumping into each other. That's okay. We're not looking for perfection. And then again, along this edge should be darker, I believe. I can never remember sometimes when I get to the center of it, I'm like, what is this supposed to be? So I definitely need to watch some more. So I'm just going to soften all that stuff that I just touched. Soften that one. I didn't tend to that quick enough, but your brush is also a tool to kind of move your paint around. So I feel like this needs a little bit of something and a little bit of blend out. So again, this is not a perfect painting. It's not a masterpiece. It's just a fun way to explore painting and your techniques. So I feel really good about it actually. And I feel like I want to bring in a little bit of darker green. So I'm going to take some green, some sap green, and I'm going to take a little bit of ultramarine blue. and get a darker green. And I'm just gonna, actually I'm gonna get a smaller brush here. Let me get a smaller brush. Okay, and we're just gonna bring in some darker bits into these leaves that are around the buds, because I feel like it's not really very dark, is it, Cara-Renee? Try again. Oops, just went outside the lines. That's okay. It's just play, right? You can do that in various places if you'd like. You don't have to. I so wish I had more hours in the day. I would focus more on painting, but I just don't. So let's just look at it. You know, I feel like it's really, really good. I am going to go in with a little bit of pink. I'm just going to rinse this brush off that I was using in the blue and the green and get a little bit more concentration of that quinacridone rose, and I'm going to darken some stuff up in here. We didn't go back and refine this bud, so just dropping in some darker color in the center there. That would always be darker. Anytime the space in it is smaller, you're going to have lighter or darker passages of color. And we're going to do the same over here with this little one. I feel like I didn't get any definition there. We're going to call it good though. Hopefully this video works out. If it doesn't, that's okay. So there is our project for today, and I'll probably make a greeting card out of this. Yeah, because I can't make a copy of this and mass make it, but I can paint it over and over and over again and give it as a gift, or I can also sell it. So if I'm using the original, I can actually sell it as long as it's an original painting every time. So hope that makes sense. Now, and you have to look at, so this is a rubber stamp. So I already have a file of all of the stamps that I have and what their angel policy is or copyright policy. So I think I'm pretty well covered. I've done that research already, but that is our project for today. Hopefully you guys can actually see it because I can't see what I'm doing. So I will see you guys inside in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.